The twin suns of Zarth 9 rose slowly over the city of metal towers and glowing skies. To most aliens, it was another busy morning. But for Mira, a poor human widow, it was the beginning of another long day of struggle. Mira wrapped her thin shawl tighter around her shoulders and stepped out of her tiny shelter made of scrap metal. Her little boy, Eli, only 6 years old, followed behind her with sleepy eyes and tangled hair. The air smelled of oil and burnt plasma. Loud hover vehicles rushed by, carrying aliens with shining suits and proud faces. None of them looked at her. Humans were rare here. After the Great Galactic War, humans were seen as weak, emotional, and poor workers. Most had been sent to the lower levels of the city, where light barely reached and the machines never stopped humming. Mira walked from one shop to another, asking for work. "Please, I can clean, I can cook. I can fix small machines," she said softly. The tall, green-skinned alien at the counter looked at her without emotion. "No humans. You break things, you cry. You are slow." He waved his hand to push her away. She tried another place, a repair station run by a robot. It didn't even let her inside. Its mechanical voice said, "Access denied. Human labor not accepted." By noon, her feet ached. Eli's stomach growled. She gave him the last piece of bread from her pocket. He smiled weakly and said, "It's okay, Mama, I'm not that hungry." But Mira's heart broke. She wanted to cry, but she couldn't. She had cried too many times before. Tears didn't help. As the second sun began to set, the city lights turned blue. Mira decided to take a shortcut through the old industrial zone. It was quiet there, too quiet. She held Eli's hand tightly. Then she heard it, a loud crash followed by a weak cry. She turned the corner and saw a small alien child, trapped under a fallen metal beam. Its skin was pale blue and its breathing was fast. Around it, strange symbols glowed on the ground, marks of an illegal experiment. Mira didn't think twice. She pushed Eli behind a wall and ran forward. The beam was heavy, but she didn't stop. She pushed with all her strength until her arms shook. "Hold on, little one," she whispered. "Don't give up." The beam moved slightly and the child gasped for air. With one last push, Mira freed the alien child and pulled it out. Its eyes were wide, glowing like stars. It looked at her with confusion and fear. "Don't be scared," she said softly. "You're safe now." She tore a piece of her shawl and tied it around the child's bleeding arm. The alien child tried to speak but only managed a few weak words before fainting. Mira looked around. No one else was coming. Whoever did this had already run away. She couldn't leave the child there. So she carried it in her arms and brought it to the nearest med station, begging the guards to help. At first they shouted, "Humans can't enter," but when they saw the injured alien child, they took it inside. Mira waited outside in the cold for hours until a doctor finally came out. "The child will live," he said. "You may go." Mira nodded and turned to leave, holding Eli's hand. But as she walked away, she didn't notice the black surveillance drone above her. It zoomed in, recording her face, her every move. Inside a tall tower far away, a figure watched the screen. It was a high-ranking alien officer of the Intergalactic Labor Council. His cold eyes studied the image of the human woman. "She saved one of ours?" he said slowly. "Yes, sir," replied another alien beside him. "No other human would dare." The officer leaned forward. "Interesting. No alien wanted to hire this human, yet she risked her life for one of our children." He pressed a button. The drone zoomed in again, showing Mira and her son walking into the dark street, their shadows long under the blue light. The officer whispered, "The human mother. She might be the key." 3 days had passed since Mira had saved the alien child. Life went on the same as before, quiet, hungry, and full of rejection. No one came to thank her. No one cared that a poor human woman had saved an alien life. She sat outside her small home, mending Eli's torn jacket with a thin metal needle. The streets of Lower Zarth were full of smoke and noise. Robots carried crates, aliens shouted orders, and humans kept their heads down, trying not to be noticed. Eli played with a small ball made from old wires. "Mama," he asked, "will we ever go home?" "Back to Earth?" Mira looked at the sky. 2 suns and 3 moons. Earth was only a story now. Maybe one day. She said softly, "When people stop calling us weak." Before she could say more, there was a knock on the metal door. A deep, slow knock, not the kind humans made. Mira froze. No one ever visited them. She opened the door carefully. A tall alien stood there, wrapped in a dark coat. His skin shimmered silver in the light, and his eyes glowed faint blue. He bowed slightly. "Mira of Earth?" His voice was calm, almost kind. "Yes," she said, her hand still on Eli's shoulder. "Who are you?" "My name is Karen," he replied. "I work for the Intergalactic Labor Council. You are needed for a special assignment," Mira frowned. "A job?" Karen nodded slowly. "Yes, a private caretaker position. High payment, full protection." She blinked, confused. "Caretaker? For who?" Karen looked around, then stepped closer. Not for who, for what? Something about his tone made her uneasy. "If this is a trick, I won't—" "It is not a trick," Karen interrupted softly. "You saved a life last week, a child. That act has not gone unnoticed." Her heart beat faster. "That child, is it safe?" "The child lives," Karen said. "Because of you. My superiors wish to test something. They believe your human nature may help another case. Why me?" Mira whispered. "I'm not strong, I'm not trained." He studied her for a long moment. "Because you care," he said. "No machine, no alien, no program can fake that." Eli tugged on Mira's sleeve. "Mama, is he taking you away?" Karen crouched and looked at Eli gently. "No, little one. Your mother may bring you with her. The council has agreed." That surprised her. No alien ever cared about her child. "Where?" she asked. Karen handed her a small metal tablet. "The coordinates are encrypted. You will be escorted tomorrow at sunrise." Then he looked at her with strange sadness. "If you accept, there is no turning back." Mira wanted to refuse. Every story she'd heard about council jobs ended badly. Humans disappearing, never returning. But the payment he mentioned, it could feed Eli for months, maybe even buy them a real home. She took a deep breath. "I'll do it." Karen bowed once more. "Be ready at dawn." That night, Mira couldn't sleep. She sat beside Eli, watching him dream peacefully. What if this job was a trap? What if she never came back? But something deep inside told her this was different. That alien child she had saved, maybe this was connected. At sunrise, Karen arrived with a hovercraft. Mira and Eli climbed in. The city shrank below as they rose higher, past the glowing towers and traffic lanes, until they reached the upper level, the part of Zarth where humans were forbidden to go. The craft landed in front of a white dome-shaped building surrounded by floating drones. Karen led them inside. The walls were silver and cold, filled with quiet hums of machines. Strange symbols glowed softly on the floor. At the end of a long hallway, a door opened with a hiss. Inside was a small room, bright and clean, unlike anything Mira had seen. And in the middle of it sat a child. He looked about the same age as Eli, but different. His skin faintly silver, his hair white as frost. His eyes were closed, connected to small wires that glowed with blue light. But what made Mira stop in shock were his eyes when they opened. They were human eyes, brown, warm, and full of fear. "This is Rin," Karen said softly. "A hybrid child. Half alien, half human. The experiment. Failed many times, but this one lived." Mira's heart ached. The boy looked so fragile, so alone. "You want me to take care of him?" she asked quietly. "Yes," Karen said. No alien nurse could keep him calm. But when he saw your picture, his pulse changed. He spoke one word. Mira looked at him, confused. "What word?" Karen's expression softened. He said, "Mother." Mira froze. Eli reached for her hand, and for a moment she couldn't move. Karen lowered his voice. "That is why they chose you, Mira of Earth. Not because you are strong, but because you are human." Mira had never seen anything like Rin before. The child sat quietly on a silver bed. Tiny cables connected to his arms and neck. His pale skin shimmered faintly under the cold blue light. His eyes, those soft brown human eyes, watched Mira as if searching for something deep inside her soul. Karen stood near the door, his voice calm but serious. "Rin is different. The scientists don't understand him. He doesn't eat like us. He doesn't sleep like us. But when he saw your picture, he reacted for the first time." Mira moved closer, her footsteps echoing softly. Eli hid behind her leg, peeking at the strange boy. "Hello," she whispered. "I'm Mira." The boy tilted his head, then slowly said, Mother?" Her heart jumped. She sat beside him carefully. "No, not your mother," she said gently. "But I can help you." Rin reached out with trembling fingers and touched her hand. His skin was cold, too cold, but his touch was light like a scared bird. For a moment, the glowing lights on the wall changed color from blue to warm gold. The machine started to beep faster. Karen's eyes widened. "It's happening again," he muttered. "What's happening?" Mira asked. "He reacts to emotions. Your touch changes his energy levels," Karen explained. "No alien has been able to do that." Over the next few days, Mira stayed in the facility. She was given a small room beside Rin's chamber. Every morning, she cleaned his face, talked to him softly, and told him stories about Earth, the oceans, the rain, and blue skies. Rin listened carefully as if he could see those things in his mind. Eli often joined them, showing Rin his wire ball or little drawings made with broken pencils. Slowly, Rin began to smile. It was small and shy, but it was real. Even the machines noticed. His energy patterns became more stable, his body temperature normal. The alien scientist called it the human effect, but not everyone was pleased. One evening, while Mira was feeding Rin a bowl of nutrient soup, two aliens in white coats whispered outside the glass wall. "She's dangerous," one hissed. "Humans should not touch the experiment." "The council approved it," said the other. "They think her emotions are useful." "Useful?" The first one sneered. "Or deadly?" Their words made Mira uneasy. Something about Rin's creation didn't feel right. So that night, after everyone left, she quietly explored the lab. She followed the faint light down a narrow corridor until she found a locked door labeled Project Genesis. Her hand trembled as she pressed the panel. To her surprise, it opened with a soft hiss. Inside were hundreds of screens showing data, human faces, and files marked deceased. She stepped closer and froze. One of the photos showed a man with kind eyes and dark hair. Under it was a name she knew by heart: Dr. Samuel Reed, human genetic donor, her late husband. Her breath caught in her throat. "Sam?" she whispered. He was supposed to have died years ago in a mining explosion, but here his name appeared again and again as part of the experiment that created Rin. She scrolled through the records, hands shaking. The words blurred before her eyes. Human DNA source, Dr. Reed. Project Genesis Alpha. Sample viability. Successful hybrid fusion. Emotional patterns inherited from donor sequence. Tears filled her eyes. Rin wasn't just any child. He carried her husband's DNA. A sound behind her made her turn sharply. Karen stood at the doorway, his silver eyes calm but serious. "You shouldn't be here," he said softly. Mira's voice broke. "You knew?" He nodded slowly. "I found out recently, but I can't speak of it. The council forbids it." "Why?" she demanded. "Why use humans like this?" Karen sighed. "After the war, your kind was seen as expendable. They used your people for experiments, to create soldiers, healers, hybrids. But most died. Rin is the only one who survived." Mira's knees grew weak. She held onto a table for support. "My husband, did he?" Karen looked away. "He worked here willingly at first, trying to save others. But when he discovered what the council was truly doing, he disappeared." Silence filled the room. Only the machines hummed softly, as if mourning the truth. Mira wiped her tears and stood straight. "I won't let them hurt Rin. He's not their weapon. He's a child." Karen looked at her for a long moment. Then he whispered, "If they learn you know this secret, they will erase you too." He turned off the light and guided her back to her room. As she closed the door, her heart raced with fear and anger. Rin slept peacefully beside Eli, unaware of the storm that was coming. Mira looked at both boys. One human, one hybrid, and then made a silent promise. "No one will take them from me." But outside, in the dark halls of the lab, a red light blinked on. A robotic voice whispered through the speakers. "Alert. Unauthorized human-accessed restricted files. Initiating investigation." The next morning on Zarth 9, the sky above the city glowed silver as the suns rose behind the towers. But deep inside the underground facility, Mira could not feel the warmth. She woke with a heavy heart, the truth from last night burning in her mind. Her husband, Dr. Samuel Reed, had worked for the same council that had turned humans into experiments. And Rin, the hybrid child she now cared for, carried a piece of his DNA. She sat beside Rin's bed watching him sleep. His breathing was soft, peaceful. Eli slept on a nearby couch, clutching his wire ball. For a brief moment, they looked like two brothers from different worlds. Mira brushed Rin's white hair from his forehead. "You didn't ask to be born like this," she whispered. "But I'll protect you. I promise." Outside the glass wall, cameras watched silently. The red light blinked again. Slower this time, but always watching. Later that day, Karen entered with his usual calm expression, but something about his eyes looked different. Troubled. "Mira," he said quietly, "we need to talk." She followed him to a small observation room. Inside were several alien officials, their skin pale blue under the dim lights. One of them, wearing a long silver robe, turned toward her. "You accessed restricted files last night," the alien said. His voice was cold. "Why?" Mira's heart pounded. She tried to keep her voice steady. "I was looking for information about Rin's health. I didn't mean to break any rule." The alien stared at her for a long moment. "Humans are emotional creatures. That is why we keep you under watch. You get curious," he turned to Karen. "She will remain under surveillance. If she steps out of line again, erase her." Karen's jaw tightened. "Understood," he said softly, but his eyes met Mira's, full of warning and silent apology. When the meeting ended, Karen walked her back through the corridor. "You shouldn't have gone there," he whispered. "They could have executed you." "I had to know," Mira said, her voice trembling with anger. "They used humans like animals." "My husband—" "I know," Karen interrupted. "But listen to me carefully. There's more. Your husband's research, it's not just about creating hybrids. He was trying to stop them." Mira stopped walking. "Stop them?" Karen nodded. "He discovered something inside human DNA. A pattern. An energy that no alien gene could copy. The council wanted to weaponize it. But your husband believed it was something greater. Something living. What do you mean?" she asked, confused. "He called it the spark," Karen said. "A force that grows from emotion, love, hope, pain. He believed it could change reality itself. But the council wanted to turn it into a weapon." Mira felt cold. "And Rin?" Karen's voice lowered. "Rin may be the first living being with that spark fully awake." Silence hung between them. Mira could hear only the faint hum of machines and her own heartbeat. "I have to find proof," she said. "If I can show the galaxy what the council did, maybe humans won't be seen as weak anymore." Karen hesitated. "There's a data vault under Section 9. It holds all the original experiment logs. But it's guarded by drones and scanners. No one gets in." Mira looked determined. "Then we'll find a way." That night, while the facility slept, Mira made her move. She left Eli and Rin asleep in their room, whispering, "Mama will be right back." She carried a small tool she had stolen from the lab. A signal jammer. She reached Section 9. The door was tall and silver, guarded by 2 drone sentries. Mira hid behind a crate and activated the jammer. The lights on the drones flickered, then went dark. Heart pounding, she slipped inside. Rows of glowing data pods lined the walls, each marked with a number. She scanned the panels until she found Genesis Log 01, Human Test Subjects. Her hands shook as she opened it. A hologram flickered to life, showing video files, humans in cages, scientists in masks, her husband working beside them. His voice echoed softly. "If they discover this recording, it means I've failed. But if you're watching this, Mira, know that I did this for you. For Eli. The council fears the human heart because it cannot be programmed. Protect it. Protect the spark." Tears ran down her face. "Sam," she whispered. Suddenly, alarms blared. The red lights flashed across the room. A robotic voice shouted, "Security breach detected. Intruder human." Mira ran, clutching the data crystal she had pulled from the console. Drones reactivated, shooting blue beams of energy that barely missed her. She turned a corner and slammed into Karen. "Give me the data," he said sharply. Her eyes widened. "You're with them?" He grabbed her arm on, but then whispered quickly, "No, I'm helping you. Follow me." They ran together through the maintenance tunnels. The alarms echoed behind them, growing louder. Karen opened a hidden hatch leading outside to the cargo bay. "Go now," he said. "Take your children and run. They'll come for you at sunrise. What about you?" she asked. He smiled sadly. "I'll buy you time." Before she could reply, he pushed the hatch shut and turned away. Mira clutched the glowing data crystal close to her heart, whispering, "I'll make it count." As she reached her room, Rin and Eli were awake, scared. She hugged them both tightly. Outside, the sirens screamed through the metal halls and the city lights flickered red. The truth was out. And now, There was no going back. The alarms kept screaming through the underground base. Red lights flashed across every wall as Mira held Eli and Rin close. The stolen data crystal burned like fire in her hand. Outside, the echo of marching boots and flying drones grew louder each second. Karen's words repeated in her mind. Go now. They'll come for you at sunrise. She didn't wait for sunrise. She grabbed a small pack, stuffed food capsules inside, and led the boys into the back corridor. The floor trembled as heavy doors locked behind them. Somewhere above, mechanical voices shouted orders. Human subject in motion. Capture alive, Mira's heart raced. Keep quiet, she whispered. Hold my hand, Eli. Rin, stay close. Rin followed silently. His pale skin glowed faintly in the dark hallway. For a moment, Mira thought she saw golden light ripple under his skin, like tiny sparks dancing beneath the surface. But there was no time to wonder. They reached the lower loading bay. A group of workers, alien and robotic, ran toward the main exit, escaping the lockdown. Mira hid behind a stack of metal crates. Through the open gate, she saw Karen arguing with 2 guards. She's gone, Karen said firmly. The human escaped through Tunnel 3. I'm going after her. The guard frowned. You'll answer to the council if she's found dead. Karen's cold reply. Then I'd better find her first. The guard stepped aside. He walked toward a small cargo ship, and Mira's heart leaped when he gave a tiny nod in her direction before boarding it. He was helping her again. Minutes later, Karen's voice echoed from her wrist communicator. Dock 7, back tunnel, hurry! Mira ran with the boys through the maintenance corridor, lungs burning. Behind them, drones buzzed closer. A beam of blue light shot past, hitting the wall beside her. Sparks flew. Eli screamed, Go, go! She shouted, pulling him forward. Rin suddenly turned back, raising his hands. His eyes flashed bright gold. The air vibrated, and the drone exploded midair without a sound. Mira froze. Rin, what did you... But he only whispered. It tried to hurt you. They kept running. The cargo bay doors opened to a storm of rain and light. Karen stood beside the ship, holding the ramp open. Move, he yelled. They climbed inside just as the soldiers reached the platform. Laser fire lit the night. Karen hit the controls and the ship roared upward into the sky. The force threw them to the floor as the engine screamed. Below, the city shrank, towers turning to dots of silver and blue. Eli clung to Mira. Mama, are we safe? She hugged him tightly. Not yet, baby. But we're getting there. Karen turned from the pilot seat. They'll chase us. The council never lets its secrets escape. Then we hide, Mira said. Or we fight. He gave a faint smile. You sound like your husband. Her chest tightened. You knew him? Karen nodded. He believed humans had something we lost long ago, faith. Maybe he was right. The ship shook as enemy fighters appeared behind them. Red streaks of energy tore through the dark sky. Karen twisted the controls. Hold on. The ship dived between asteroid fragments, spinning past glowing rocks. Each blast lit up the metal walls inside. Mira covered the boys as debris hit the hull. One enemy shot clipped their wing. The ship spiraled before Karen leveled it again. We can't outrun them for long, he said. But there's an old smuggler route through the debris field. Dangerous, but they won't follow. Do it. Mira shouted. They plunged into the field. Sharp rocks floated like frozen knives, glowing faintly from nearby stars. The ship scraped past them, metal screeching. One wrong move and they'd be crushed. Rin stared out the window. His eyes began to glow brighter, golden, almost blinding. I can help, he whispered. Karen frowned. What are you... Before he could finish, Rin placed his small hand on the control panel. The lights inside the ship changed from red to gold. The engines hummed smoother. The debris around them began to drift aside, as if the rocks felt Rin's presence and moved out of the way. Mira stared in awe. He's controlling it. Karen's voice was quiet, full of disbelief. No, he's communicating with it. The ship passed safely through the asteroid field. The enemy fighters tried to follow, but the rocks slammed together behind them, destroying the first 2 in a burst of light. The others retreated. Silence filled the cabin except for the soft hum of the engines. Rin's light faded and he fell weakly against Mira's shoulder. I just wanted to keep you safe, he murmured. She stroked his hair. You did, sweetheart. You saved us all. Karen set the ship on autopilot toward the outer orbit. We can hide near the abandoned mining colonies, he said. But when the council finds out what he did, they'll hunt you harder than ever. Mira looked out at the endless stars. Let them come, she whispered. They'll see what a human heart can do. Karen glanced back at her. You still don't understand, do you? What you carry isn't just love, it's power. And now they'll fear you. Mira held both children close, one born of her husband's science, and looked into the glowing darkness ahead. The stars stretched before them, infinite and bright. Behind her, Earth was only a memory. Ahead of her, destiny waited. And far away in the council's tower, an alien leader watched the tracking screen and whispered coldly, The human mother has escaped. Bring her back, or burn every sky she touches. The ship drifted silently through the black sea of stars. The engines hummed softly now, no longer chased by the council's fighters. Inside, the air was calm, but everyone could feel the storm building beyond the walls. Mira sat near the window watching the endless galaxy. Tiny lights flickered like diamonds in the dark. Eli slept beside her, holding Rin's hand. The hybrid boy was still pale, recovering from what he had done. His strange power had saved them all, but it had drained him deeply. Karen entered from the cockpit, his expression heavy. They've blocked our signal, he said. No communications, no travel code. We're ghosts now. Good, Mira whispered. Ghosts can't be caught. Karen studied her face. You're changing, Mira. The woman I met on Zarth was afraid. Now you sound like a leader. She smiled sadly. I don't have a choice anymore. If I run, they'll never stop hunting us. But if I fight... She looked at Rin. Maybe I can change everything. Later that night, Rin woke up. His golden eyes glowed faintly under the dim light. Where are we? He asked weakly. Far from danger, Mira said, giving him water. You need to rest, he shook his head. I can hear them, Mira frowned. Hear who? The ones chasing us, Rin whispered. They're angry, scared. But I can also hear something else. He closed his eyes, focusing. His voice became softer. There are humans out there in other colonies. They cry in the dark. They think no one will save them. Mira felt her heart ache. Then maybe it's time someone does. Karen leaned against the wall. What are you planning? Hope, she said. That's what humans do best. We hope, even when everything burns. The next morning, Karen guided the ship into the orbit of an abandoned mining moon. Broken stations floated around them like bones of a forgotten beast. It was silent, perfect for hiding. While Karen repaired the engines, Mira explored the cargo bay. She found old transmitter parts, broken but usable. A plan began to form in her mind. She gathered wires, small power cells, and pieces of old circuits. If we can't contact anyone, I'll build my own signal. Karen raised an eyebrow. You know how to repair alien tech? She smiled faintly. My husband taught me enough to survive. Hours passed. Sparks flew. Eli helped by holding tools while Rin sat beside them, humming softly. The machines around him flickered as if responding to his presence. Finally, the transmitter hummed to life. Mira took a deep breath and spoke into it. To every human still alive in the stars, this is Mira Reed. The council lied to us. They used us. But we are not weak. We are not broken. We are human. And that means we can still fight. The signal spread through space like a pulse of light. Quiet but alive. Karen stared at her in awe. Do you realize what you've just done? Yes, Mira said. I just gave them a reason to hope. Hours later, something strange happened. The stars outside began to shimmer. The ship's sensors flickered wildly. Karen checked the console. This energy reading, and it's impossible. Rin stepped forward, his eyes glowing again, brighter than before. It's not the ship, he said softly. It's me. Mira turned to him. Rin, what's happening? I can feel them now, he said. The humans who heard your message. Their fear, their pain, their hope. It's all connecting. Light spread from his hands, and warm, golden, pure. It filled the ship, wrapping around everyone like a soft blanket. Mira felt it in her heart. Memories, love, sorrow, everything alive inside her. Eli laughed as the light touched him. Even Karen gasped, feeling something deep and unfamiliar. Emotion. This, Rin whispered, is what your husband called the spark. It's not a weapon, Mira. It's a heartbeat. When humans care, the universe listens. Mira's eyes filled with tears. Then let's make it listen. But far away in the council's grand chamber, alarms blared. The alien leader rose from his throne, staring at the energy wave spreading through the galaxy. What is that? One of the officers cried. The leader's voice shook with anger. It's human emotion, spreading across our network like fire. He slammed his fist on the table. Find them before that light infects the whole system. Back on the ship, Rin fell into Mira's arms, exhausted but smiling. They're coming, he whispered. But it doesn't matter anymore. Karen looked out at the stars, the same stars that now shimmered gold instead of white. You've done something no one ever has, Mira. You made the galaxy feel again. She held Rin and Eli close, her voice steady. If they want to end this, they'll have to face what they fear most, a human mother protecting her family. Outside, the stars glowed brighter, pulsing like a living heart. The spark had awakened, and its song was spreading. The galaxy had changed overnight. The Council's scanners showed golden waves of light spreading through hundreds of systems. Faint at first, then stronger, brighter, unstoppable. They weren't weapons, not fleets or armies. They were something far more dangerous to the cold hearts of the rulers. Hope. And at the center of it all was one ship, drifting quietly between the stars, carrying a human mother, her son, a hybrid child, and an alien who had chosen to betray his own kind. Inside the ship, Mira stood before the wide glass window. Stars burned in the distance like candles in a dark room. Behind her, Karen adjusted the scanner. They're coming, he said softly. A full fleet. Dozens of warships. Mira didn't flinch. Then we ended here. Eli grabbed her hand. Mama, are we going to die? She knelt down and brushed his hair. No, sweetheart. We're going to live, even if it's the last thing I do. Rin sat quietly beside them, glowing faintly gold. They're afraid, he said. Not of us, but of what we make others feel. Karen turned. Mira, if they capture us, they'll erase everything. Your message, the spark, all of it. Then we won't let them, she replied. Her voice was calm, her eyes steady. If humanity taught me anything, it's that even the smallest voice can shake the stars. Moments later, the Council's fleet arrived. Massive ships of silver and steel surrounding them like wolves around a wounded deer. A holographic image appeared in front of them. The alien chancellor, tall, cold, and cruel. Mira of Earth, he said. You've infected our systems with your primitive emotion. You've caused chaos in the colonies. Turn yourself in and your death will be quick. Mira stepped forward. You call it infection. I call it life. For too long, your kind ruled without feeling, without mercy. Maybe it's time the galaxy remembered what it means to care. The Chancellor's eyes narrowed. You are one human woman. We are the Council. You cannot win. Mira smiled faintly. Then you've never met a mother protecting her children. The Chancellor raised his hand. Fire! Outside, blue beams of light shot toward the small ship. Mira held her breath. But just before the blasts hit, Rin stood up. His eyes glowed brighter than ever before, and golden light spread from his body like a wave. The energy reached the oncoming beams and turned them into streaks of gold that faded harmlessly into space. Then it spread outward, touching the Council ships one by one. Their engines flickered. Their weapons powered down. What is this? Shouted one of the alien officers. Systems failing. Rin's voice echoed, soft but powerful. You cannot destroy what you never understood. The spark isn't mine, it's everyone's. Mira stepped beside him, tears shining in her eyes. You hear that, Chancellor? You can't stop love or hope or kindness. They'll always return. The alien leader roared, Enough! And ordered another strike. But his soldiers hesitated. The golden light had touched them too. For the first time, they felt guilt, regret, humanity. Karen watched the bridge feed in silence. They're feeling it, he whispered. Even the Council? One by one, the warships stopped firing. Their lights dimmed. Their crews lowered their weapons. The Chancellor stared at the screen, his voice trembling. What have you done? Mira answered softly. I reminded the stars what it means to have a heart. Hours later, the battle was over. Not with explosions, but with awakening. Across the galaxy, alien workers freed their human captives. Machines stopped their endless cycles. The spark had spread to every corner, rewriting everything the Council had built. Karen stood beside Mira on the viewing deck. It's over, he said quietly. The Council has fallen. Mira shook her head. No, it's just beginning. Now we rebuild Ein together. Eli ran to her side, pointing out the window. Mama, look! Far below, the planet Zarth 9 shimmered under golden light. Cities that once hid humans now glowed with energy, free for the first time. The people cheered as the signal spread across the networks, showing Mira's message again and again. We are human. We are not weak. We are hope among the stars. That night, the ship floated in quiet orbit. Rin rested peacefully, finally free from the cables, his power calm and gentle now. He looked up at Mira. Will I ever be like other children? He asked softly. She smiled and kissed his forehead. No, Rin, you'll be better. You'll be yourself. Karen looked out into the horizon. What will you do now? Mira gazed at the stars, thousands of worlds waiting. I'll keep helping. There are still humans out there who think they're alone. I want them to know they're not. She turned to Eli and Rin, holding their hands. The universe may be full of cold hearts, but even in the darkest place, a little human warmth can light the way. The ship's engines hummed as they set a new course, leaving the battlefield behind. As they drifted into the glowing stars, Mira whispered to herself, We were never meant to be slaves. We were meant to be hope. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, every being, human, alien, machine, felt a heartbeat that wasn't their own. A rhythm that pulsed with love, courage, and life, the spark of humanity. Alive forever among the stars.